Raoni Barcelos versus Khalid Taha. We got minus 325 on Raoni Barcelos and plus 250 on Khalid Taha. Let's start off with Taha, who's coming off a victory over Bruno Silva back at UFC 243 in October. So we're talking about over a year since he's been out of the cage, and he was actually scheduled to fight Jack Shore this weekend. However, Jack Shore pulls out. In steps Raoni Barcelos. In my opinion, just as tough, if not tougher, of a matchup than Jack Shore. So Taha is on a two-fight winning streak. He did make his UFC debut on short notice against Nad Narimani at featherweight, which is not his weight class. And we saw the absolute strength and size advantage of Nad Narimani come into play there, as he was able to pretty much drag Khalid Taha down as often as he wanted, clinch him up against the cage, pretty much overpower him the entirety of that fight. Then when we saw him at his true natural weight class in the UFC, he knocked out Boston Salmon in 25 seconds. Beautiful combination. And then Bruno Silva, that's a fight where the second round he pretty much got held down the entire time. And then in the third round, it seemed like Bruno Silva's gas tank started to catch up to him. And, there was a unfortunate exchange that let Bruno Silva almost give up his back, almost gave up the rear naked choke. He spins, and then Khalid Taha locks up the arm triangle choke. Beautiful finish with 2 minutes left in the fight. If that had gone to a decision, we probably would have seen it go given to Khalid Taha, as I think he won the first round. It was definitely a second round for Bruno Silva, but the way things were going in that third round, it was definitely a Taha round. But now with Raoni Barcelos, I think he's fighting a guy that's much more dangerous. Let's talk about the skills of Taha specifically, though. I think he has solid striking. It seems like more often than not, he wants to go out there and just try to knock you out. If the submission comes, just like, 2 out of his last 4 fights, he was able to pull off submission victories. But more often than not, you see him going out there and try to impose his will on the feet, trying to wing big shots or solid leg kicks and try to get you out that way. That's not going to work at the higher level in the UFC. And unfortunately for him, he's already touching the higher level in Raoni Barcelos. Barcelos is one of those guys that I truly believe is going to be in the top 5, top 10 of their division if they're a little bit more active. Other guys that I think of that are kind of similar like that are like Movsar Evloev, Demir Ismagulov, Magomed Ankalaev. If these guys were more active, we would see them much closer to the title shots or at least title contention. And I truly believe that Raoni Barcelos is right there. Let's switch over to Raoni Barcelos. He is on a 4-fight winning streak within the UFC, but in his career overall, he's on an 8-fight winning streak. He's only lost 1 fight ever to a guy named Mark Dickman, where he lost via submission in the second round. But since then, he's picked up wins over notable names like Bobby Moffitt. That was pre-UFC for both guys. Dan Morit. Again, I believe that was pre-UFC for both guys. And then he steps into the UFC, knocks out Kurt Holloway in a wonderful fight where he got to showcase pretty much all sides of his game. But the uppercut at the end was a beautiful finish for him. Chris Gutierrez, he choked him out. Carlos Watson choked him out too. That was actually a fight where he was supposed to fight Saeed Nurmagomedov that night. Nurmagomedov pulls out. Watson steps in on short notice. Unfortunate short notice fight for him. And then we do see Barcelos eventually go out there and fight Saeed Nurmagomedov and get the decision victory there. He was actually he was scheduled to fight Cody Stamann back in March before the whole COVID thing hit. That would have been a great fight for him to actually burst onto the top 15, get a solid victory, if he was able to get past Stamann, that is, get a solid victory there and really showcase what kind of fighter he is. But unfortunately, here he is now against Khalid Taha, who in my opinion is a little bit of a step back from Saeed Nurmagomedov. But during these COVID times, it's interesting to see how these guys react. So Taha was actually supposed to fight Jack Shore, like I said. So I find it kind of interesting that Raoni Barcelos was more than willing to jump in on short notice here, since, like he's a high-level fighter. It's not often that you see high-level fighters take short notice fights like this. Like another one that really kind of caught me off guard is when Robbie Lawler stepped in on short notice, I believe, to fight Neil Magny. Like those types of fighters, it's very shocking to see them step in on short notice. Again, especially with Raoni Barcelos, who in my opinion is just knocking on the top 15, top 10 door. Now to step in and fight a guy in Khalid Taha who has, in my opinion, a very minimal path to victory in terms of trying to knock out Hani. And I truly believe that we'll see Hani, once again, just like the Kurt Holloway fight, showcase of a diverse skill set. I think the Kurt Holloway fight is kind of the closest resemblance to how this fight might look, where we'll see Raoni Barcelos kind of, use his Muay Thai, try to fade try to get Khalid to think that this is going to be a stand-up fight, and then he goes out there and pulls off, a takedown of some sort. I love his takedowns. I love his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well, too. Barcelos is pretty much as close to a full package as we get for an MMA fighter, and I truly think that he has all the skills to go out there and capture that strap. The only issue here, unfortunately for him, though, he's 35 years old, so if he wants to get it done, now is the time. He'll be 36 in May of next year, so the clock is ticking on him. So he's really going to have to go out there and get moving and get these fights under his belt. Considering that Taha is about 8 years younger than him, so that's something to keep in mind. But we haven't seen any signs of slowing down for Raoni Barcelos. Until we see that, I'm going to be on his train. Yeah, he's minus 325 here, and I'd say he's more of a parlay piece than playing him straight. I personally like him to give us better value on any other spot on the card that we're looking at. If there's any other fight that you want a little bit more value on, Barcelos, in my opinion, is a solid spot to go out there and parlay with. But, you don't see much in resistance from Khalid Taha when it goes to him fighting wrestlers. And I'll give him the benefit of the doubt in that fight against Nad Narimani, as I truly believe that he was just outstrength. He was just out of his weight class in that fight, so that's unfortunate. But the Bruno Silva fight, that second round, looked very sketchy for Taha. And I think that Barcelos will be able to do the same, if not worse, to Khalid Taha if he had gotten him to the ground. So I like Barcelos to win this fight. I could see him getting a finish as well, too, maybe a second or third round sub. But yeah, I really like him. I hope he's in good shape, especially with him taking it on short notice. I don't see why he would take it on short notice if he wasn't in shape, especially considering the run that he's on right now and how close he is, especially with him originally scheduled to fight Cody Stamann, who was a ranked opponent at the time. You got to think that Barcelos knows he's near the top, so he's got to be in shape to go out there and fight Khalid Taha. So I'm going with Barcelos. I think he gets it done probably second or third round submission. But yeah, I love Barcelos in this spot, and I can't wait to see him grow. So once again, I got Raoni Barcelos via submission.